Ah, I lost my hangout here. There we go. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I lost myself for a minute. Welcome out to the Next Level Mastermind Q&A session. It's so good to have you guys here. Hey, Michael, I see you in the comment stream. And I'm here with my awesome dear friend and business partner, Chris Rushlow. And we're really excited to be here with you guys tonight. You know, as you probably saw in the Facebook group, we were having a little bit of a conversation the other day about why we like to do everything in a group setting as opposed to one-on-one. And it's because, you know, we're all here because we want to have a life. You know, I come from a background, a lot of us come from a background where we spent a lot of time, you know, on the phone, running around town, going to coffee shops, showing the plan, training people one-on-one that don't ever end up doing anything, which turns out to be a huge waste of our time, and so on and so forth. And the thing that I love the most about this business model and everything since I've been inside of Empower Network is that I was taught since I first came into Empower Network to leverage, which was really hard for me at first because I'm the type of person that I'm a nurturing person. I'm a mother. I like to, you know, hold people's hands and pat their butts, as David Wood says. And, you know, and he basically right from the get-go was like, no, you can't do that. You can't make a lot of money if you're spending one-on-one time with everybody on your team that wants one-on-one time all the time. And that's what my life was like before, where I had a pretty big team in my network marketing company, and I was talking on the phone all the time to my team members. I was doing three-way calls all the time with my team members and their people. I was doing three-way calls with my upline and my team members. I was just on the phone all the time. And the bottom line was I didn't make any money. And neither did anybody else, because nobody was empowered. Nobody was self-sufficient. Everybody was dependent on each other, and it didn't work that way at all. And so one of the first things I learned inside of Empower Network was how to leverage. That's what's taught here. And so now that's how we do everything. And it benefits everybody this way, because if we're coaching somebody one-on-one, nobody else is benefiting from that conversation. Whereas if we do it in a group setting, you know, chances are we might be coaching somebody about something, an issue or a question that you didn't even know you had, but when you hear the conversation, you have an aha moment. This happened all the time when we used to do our all-in calls. We used to do all-in calls every week, and it was the same kind of thing. People would ask a question, and it would benefit everybody. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to answer your questions publicly. If you want to jump on with us and get coached in front of everybody, we're going to bring you on the panel with us tonight. So we really want to make sure that you have what you need, that your questions are answered, and all that good stuff. So before I go on anymore, I just want to, before I say hello to Chris and have Chris jump out, I just want to also let you know, below this video, if you are if you're on our team or if you're a guest coming to check out who we are, there's a button under this video that's going to take you to, I posted in the Facebook group, there's a new page for the team to use about the 21-day blogging challenge. And it's a little bit of training about how to do keyword research to get in front of the right people, with an invitation to get into the 21-day blogging challenge for $7. So that page can be accessed by the button underneath this video. If you click on that button, it'll take you to that page. If you haven't seen that page yet, it's just like all of our other pages. You put your username at the end, and it's coded to you, and people can get in and get started for $7 and plug in. And once they go through the training that's on that page, they'll have a really good understanding about how it works and why having a blog is awesome. So I just wanted to let you know that button, if you haven't seen that page yet, you can click the button and check it out. You know, when the hangout's over, or if you're just visiting and you want to get started with our team, if you click that button and join for $7, you'll be joining with the person that invited you here. So I just wanted to point that out. Now I want to introduce Mr. Chris Rushlow. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. I'm real good. Happy to be back. Happy to be here. As I was having a conversation with Amy before we went live here, just talking about some of the stuff that we want to do for everyone and how we've had these big plans for our team that we've wanted to do, and we've been kind of holding back on doing weekly stuff simply because Dave called me and said, hey man, we're going to be doing like stuff on Tuesday and Thursday mostly for the next couple months, with showing people what's going on with the rebuild of the whole blog system and the funnels, and we're going to be doing promotions for the event because we want as many people to get to the event as possible because it's going to be such a massive reset and launching pad. And so we kind of were like, I don't think we really made this public, and so we didn't tell people and everybody in the mastermind here, all the co-creators, we didn't say, hey guys, it's going to be cooled off for a little while where we're not going to have regular hangouts and we'll hop on impromptu, but we didn't say why, and I know that when we started and rebooted the Next Level Mastermind, we were like, guys, this is a better place where we're going to have co-creators, we're going to have crowdsourcing, people are going to be sharing what they've done successfully, bringing it to us. We're going to do, we're going to feature them and do trainings and whatever's working for people. We're all going to lift each other up and do this stuff together. And so there hasn't been any of that yet because we've all been kind of holding back too and only just, doing what we can with our own marketing, kind of waiting for a lot of things to be finished and finalized, which they're now starting to be. So the good news is that we can start kicking into the phase of where we want to actively work with everyone here. This is the fun part. This is what we've been looking forward to. And so what we want to do is show you guys good faith here. And now that the blog stuff's happening and the systems are going, before we start kind of building our systems to attach to that for everyone, we want to make you guys better as individuals. And so we know that leveraging our time and leveraging everybody around here in the Next Level Mastermind is important. So what I'm looking at is we want to be able to be coaching people. And the good news is, what I found is that if one person has a question, it usually means that 60 to 80% of everybody else has that same question, even when they don't actually know it consciously. But when someone asks the question, they go, oh my God, that's a great question. Yeah, I just saw that, Amy. Oh my God, that's a great question. I didn't even think of that. I didn't know that I didn't know that question and the answer to it. And so what we found, and this was very successful when we had BTC, we had our all-in call and people were asking questions and everybody else just sat back and listened. And everyone would get so much value out of that. Everyone was like, this is awesome. This is cool. Now we have, there's things that I didn't even know, and now I'm starting to grow, which is why people who are still around from that era in BTC, we kind of call it the glory days in some ways, but I think the best days are in front of us, not behind us. Actually, I know that because we've all grown. So the good news is we want to coach you, and no question is too stupid or too simple, and no question is too advanced. We will address them all. Over my extensive knowledge, I just want you guys to kind of know for a second that, I'm kind of a geek when it comes to this stuff. And I didn't realize the caliber of marketing that I understood until I started to get around the best in the world. You see, even when I was 16 years old, I read Thinking.
Thank you very much.
What's that? What was that?
Thank you very much. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're welcome. But what I'm saying is, I was reading Think and Grow Rich when I was 16, and then I started to do literally book reports on marketing when I was 16 and 17 years old in high school. I had a big project when I was in my senior year in high school. Everyone had a big project in their economy class to research a career, to research a particular profession. And this is was supposed to be the one you had the aspirations to go into. And some people were like a doctor, dentist, and veterinarian and all that stuff. And you know what mine was? It was an entrepreneur. It was a business owner. And I was using principles from Think and Grow Rich and a lot of the business books at the time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I used that as my report. And you see, my teacher, he gave me a B. He didn't give me an A because a teacher is normally set, in the, get a good college education and get a job. And here I was taking the risky approach as a business owner, talking about taking a lot of risk and taking the responsibility at the same time. And So I have been on this path ever since I was about 16. And it's funny because what I had to do in the last couple of years was fill in the gaps on some stuff that I knew really well and other stuff that I had no clue about. And, enter David Wood, enter Mars, enter Jay Cron, enter Chris Record, enter these amazing people, Lawrence Tam, and I started to fill in the gaps, and now it's all kind of come together here in the last couple of years. And now that it's come together, it's starting to evolve, and it's a really cool thing. I'm really excited about. I'm just excited about life and excited about where things are going. And I now know and have confidence that I've built a lot of leaders, been responsible for a lot of leaders' growth, and we're going to do even more of that. And we're going to do it better this time. So what I'm saying to you guys is the reason I did this long-winded, hey, I'm so great approach, right, is I want to make you great. And I want to transfer that to you. And what knowledge you're going to get from me and Amy today, because I'm working closely with Amy all the time, and she's learning everything I'm learning. And we both have different skill sets that complement each other, which makes this even better. And we're going to give this to you. We now can coach you better than we ever have before. We now can give you better answers to your marketing and your mindsets than we ever have before. You guys thought the mindset training was good in BTC. Wait till you see some of this. So that's kind of what I want to open with, and I just want to give an open invitation to everybody watching. Some of you are here that are a part of the Next Level Mastermind, and you know the vision behind us, and you know that we are about being a cut above the rest of the whole opportunity industry of business opportunities and network marketing and MLM and all that stuff, and doing it through the internet, which, funny enough, old school people still say, oh, it's not doable that way. And I'm like, we have more people making six-figure incomes from that than anything, huh? We have figured it out, right? And so some of you have been here and you know this, and so you know what we're about. You know that we're committed to you. You know that we are all about making you better because it makes us better, that we really have a higher value set about what we do with people, and the community that we create is very special. A lot of you guys know that. So for those of you who are kind of checking it out right now, kind of peeking in, and you're not a part of the Next Level Mastermind, some of you may be a part of other teams in Empower, that's fine. Our message here right now today is about helping, and so we want that to reverberate because there's a certain vibe to this that's important that a lot more of this industry get. More on that later. But what I really want to tell you is welcome. And you're going to be able to learn tonight from us and what people ask. And you may just find that there's some questions you didn't even know that we'll have the answer to. And you'll walk away from here with your mind expanded. Just like I walk away with my mind blown anytime I have a long conversation with David Wood or with Mars, our CMO, or Jay Cron, and their unique perspective in ways that I've never heard anyone talk about. And so I'm excited and glad to be back here. And what we look to do, this is what the expectation I want to give you all, is that me and Amy talked about this, and we're getting real close to the point where we want to start doing this weekly, really ramping things up to where we want to do coaching weekly. Now the tough part is until people have taken a lot of action, it's difficult to do a lot of coaching because people are like, well, what do I do? And we're like, blog daily, place your ads, that type of stuff. And so the important part, help us help you and make the commitment that whatever it is your plan of action is, you implement that and you keep moving forward every day. Because as you move fast and break things, just like Mark Zuckerberg says with Facebook, move fast, you'll break things, then you can bring those broken models to us. And we'll say, okay, now we know what's going on. And now we can ask you the right questions to answer it. Or it may be that we've had that similar situation, and at the same time, marketing is marketing, and we can offer a better conclusion, a better perspective of that for you. So I'm really excited. I'm happy to be here. This is good. I get energized by this stuff. And so that's what we got for you. So welcome. Back to you, Amy.
Yeah, sweet. So with that being said, I hope you guys are excited about everything Chris said, because yeah, we are. Things are really, really ramping up. As you guys know, we have a whole bunch of new stuff coming out in Empower. And I know that, and I'm going to bring Scott Riley out. I know he asked to be coached. If anyone else wants to come out and be coached, you can let us know in the comments, and we'll bring you out one at a time and do that. But one of the questions that Scott had sent me was about capture pages and what we use. And I don't know if that's what he's going to ask us, but You know, Chris and I create a lot of our own capture pages and funnels. And that's one of the things that we really want people to understand how to do, because again, it's about your message and your market and making sure that everything's congruent. And not that you have to do that, and that with the new funnels that are coming out with Empower, you're not going to need to do that. But if that's something that you guys want to learn how to do, we will teach you how we do that. You know, like that's one of the things that I love to do, and I'd love to teach people, you know, that end of it. So that being said, guys, go ahead. Whatever questions you have, you can put them in the comments. And if you would like to come out and talk to us and have a conversation, then let us know that in the comments as well, and we will send you a link to jump on here on our panel. And unless, Chris, unless you have anything else, I'll go ahead, because I know Scott wants to jump out. He already told me that. So
yeah, and while you bring Scott out, I'm just going to address some general best practices and guidelines for capture pages. I want to address what they're not and what they actually are and why they work. So I'll talk a little bit about that. That will help get the juices flowing, and it may even help Scott ask some more intelligent questions. He's pretty intelligent as it is. And others in the comment stream may be able to, you know, ask their question in the comment stream. We can't guarantee that if you ask your question in the comment stream, it gets answered. But what we can guarantee is that if you come out on the live stream, we'll be answering you and giving you that full attention and being present with you. So, you know, bring Scott out. But what I want to talk about real quick is capture pages are essentially a way, like obviously, you know, for people who are new, you know, capture pages are meant to capture information. It's that dreaded thing that you've probably seen many times on the internet where you want something and they're like, give me your email for it. And, you know, there's been many incarnations from this, and normally industry averages, you know, in this industry average between 20 to 30% of, you know, the people that come to that page are actually going to input their email. That's industry average. Now, what I know is what the pages I create and the pages that Amy creates, I routinely and regularly get with my capture pages about 45 to 60%, and I know that Amy does the same, as well as have some of her pages convert as high as 87%. And so what I'm looking at here is, you know, capture pages are meant to do a few simple things, and a lot of people overthink them and think that they're supposed to be extravagant and all-encompassing because they look at a quantity mindset approach rather than a quality mindset approach. And remember, guys, we're talking the difference between system-based responsiveness versus personality-based responsiveness. And so when you have a capture page that you can build yourself, the systems can't build your personality and your unique visions, values, ideals, directives into that capture page. So obviously that's why 20 to 30% is normally the industry average, industry standard. The reason Amy and I get higher is because we're inserting some of our vision and value into it, but we also understand an important thing. You see, some people will create a capture page and say, you know, you're going to learn the secrets to, you know, all of this stuff. So they're very vague, and they're talking about a lot of things, right? Like 5, 6, 7 elements of things they're going to learn. You see, that type of concept is confusing, and there's no specific thing in someone's brain. Follow me here. There's no specific one thing in the person's mind that goes, I can have this benefit right away by opting in and getting this. So the difference is, you know, some people will have like a lead magnet. They'll create a little ebook report that says, like, you know, how to make money online. Very generic, right? And, you know, including how to build your own funnels and tell stories and blog and, you know, do SEO and retargeting and all this stuff. And that's like all their bullet points. So they're like, hey, you're going to get everything, right? Well, first off, you're offering all that for free. So you're giving a huge expectation of all the stuff you have to give for free before you even get paid for anything. Mistake number one. Mistake number two is that once you've offered all that, then, you know, you obviously, number one, you've trained them to think and expect a lot of value. Number two is they get confused and crowded with all those things, and there's no specificity to it. It's not specific. So a better thing would be if you have something you're selling that has 8 parts to it, like 8 major chunks, or 5 major chunks, right? Then your lead magnet should be the solution to one of those chunks. The most pressing question that is the simple question, and in making money online, it may be, how to, get loads and loads of traffic to, convert at a certain percentage, or how to, the 3 things you need that accomplish this thing to increase your conversions on your blog post. You see, you're being specific. Now someone can hear that, the 3 things you need to increase your conversions on your blog post. That could be a good lead magnet. It's specific, it's 3 things, but it's solving one specific chunk, one nugget, right? And so someone can go, oh, let me visualize. Now they picture in their mind, they go, there's my blog post, and there's 3 things in there that I don't know yet that could create this measurable result to where I have 2 to 3 more times people going to take the next step in my call to action at the end of my blog post. I want that. And you see those 3 things, saying 3 things is like, okay, well that's only 3 things. In the mind of someone, that's only 3 things, and they see that that could be easily absorbable, easily digestible, and learned quickly and implemented quickly. So it offers the instant gratification part of your brain, which gets people to do impulse buying, which is not a bad thing, right? If it's good stuff you're giving them, then I impulse buy health food, right? It's healthy for me, but it's still an impulse buying. So that's the psychology behind it. So remember, in a lead magnet, just as some best practices, the best thing I found as we've evolved is giving something that people can download and telling them you're going to email it to them, and then having them have to confirm their opt-in, double opt-in, confirming it so that they can receive it in their email. And what that does is obviously you have a better chance to get your email when you're actually following up with them and emailing them your offers and content to get it to the inbox, because now they've confirmed and clicked on a link inside your email. Way better than single opt-in. The quantity mindset of the internet marketer that says, I'm just going to promise the moon whatever I can to get that opt-in, to get all those people on a single opt-in, and spray and pray approach, throw as much crap against the wall to see what sticks, and then most of it's going to fall off, but I'll be able to, and convert some of those people and then upsell even more. That leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because there's not the right expectations given. A lot of promises are made that are never delivered on, and you don't want to start out that way, because then you have to build your business all over again. It's a short-sighted mindset. Quantity, short-sighted mindset stuff does not live here in Next Level Mastermind. We will not teach you that stuff. We're going to teach you the other. We're going to show you how that doesn't work, and then explain the science as to why things do work that will work for you long term. So that's my take on it. That's my thought on lead magnets and capture pages. Is the psychological stuff is one little chunk, just to wrap, one little chunk of a bigger picture, something that can be absorbed quickly, something easy, something that they have the feel like, okay, I can learn this real quickly and implement this right away, and that they get it right away. So it solves that instant gratification piece. And make sure that they have the expectation that they're going to receive that in their email so that you have the ability to follow up. So that's what I got. So yeah, if Amy has anything, go right ahead, and if not, then Scott, you're up. So it looks like Amy.
Yeah, I think we should do, at some point we'll do a more in-depth training on funnels and building funnels. One little thing that I'll add as far as the double opt-in, one thing that I do in some of my funnels is when they opt, it's not asking them to go confirm in their email, but what it does is, like, when they opt in, it takes them to a page with a video of me saying, so if you didn't put in your right email address, you're not going to get the checklist that you're opting in to get. So if you put in a wrong email address, you have to hit the back button and go put in your right email address because it's coming to your email. So that's one of the things that I do to make sure that they're not going to get it. It's not going to show up on a thank you page. They're not automatically going to get it unless they put in the right email address. And so you can have a little thank you page on the other side of the opt-in that just says, it doesn't even have to be a video, but it can just be reminding them, if you didn't put in your correct email address, go back and put it in, because otherwise you're not going to get this. Because some people will put in like a made-up email address just to see what's on the other side of the page, and they're never going to get your emails. And like Chris said, if they don't get your emails, it's doing you no good to have them on your list. So you can either do the double opt-in option, or you can do a single opt-in but not give them anything unless, like, the only way they're going to actually get anything is in an email. And if you're letting them know that when they opt in on the thank you page, whether it's a video or in text, then the chances of them going back and putting in their actual email address are a lot better. And and I heard Mike Hobbs did a training about this recently as well. And the way he put it was, you know, people are stealing from you. Basically, that's what it comes down to. If they're not giving you their actual email address, they're trying to get something for nothing. They're trying to take your gift without giving you their contact information. So that was the way that he explained it. But that's kind of like what I've done in some of my funnels, just to make sure like I'm not getting bogus email addresses, because like Chris said, that does us no good, and that whatever he called it, spray, whatever,
Spray.
like it doesn't. There's no sense in it. You know, there's no sense in it. So again, yeah, we're going to teach you, you know, different ways to make sure you're getting the right people on your list, people that actually want to be on your list. Because if they don't actually want to be on your list, what's the sense? So, like I said, we're not going to do like a full-blown, this is technical how we build a funnel tonight. But you know, you guys can chime in the comments too and let us know if that's something that you want. If some of you are interested, I mean, if you want to build your own stuff, you're going to have something like lead pages. You're going to have a way to build stuff. It's you know, you need a platform to be able to do that. I use lead pages. I think Chris uses Optimize Press for most of his stuff. But in any case, you're going to have to invest in some tools if that's what you want to do. If that's something that you want to do and that's something that you want to learn, we can teach you that. So let us know if that's something that you want. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the Facebook group, and that way we can give you guys the training that you actually want. But I do think that this is something that would be good to teach on. It came up for me when Scott asked me the question because, you know, again, we're teaching personality-based marketing, and in order to do that, it's good to have like your own stuff with your face on it and your videos on it and stuff like that.
Right.
So anyway, if that's something you guys want, we'll definitely
One quick last thing here, and then we'll bring Scott out. Is that just to you know, add on to real quick there what Amy was talking about is, you know, the whole spray and pray approach. You know, spray all over the place and pray that a few actually work. You know, kind of like farming. You know, planting GMO seeds. You gotta pray for a lot of them. That's an inside joke. But what I'm saying here is, you know, that type of approach is a mentality that is why this industry has, in a lot of circles, not a very good rap. Not a very good rep. And because of that, it's up to us to not be a continuing part of a lot of what we see around here where people are short-sighted and very short-term oriented just to make money, desperation. We're not operating from that place because that's a constant grind that never ends, and you're always in desperation because you're creating more of it by taking the desperate actions to do so. Some of you will get that. Some of you will get that later. The next part of this is we're going to teach you to be a part of the solution to this industry, not a part of the problem. Because I can tell you, having been on the part of the solution of the industry for the majority of my career in this industry, I've done nothing but good things, and it's lasted. Okay? It's lasted, and it's afforded me a six-figure income where I don't have blowback like a lot of leaders do in terms of people who are pointing the finger, screaming at them because they've sponsored all these people and given them, you know, big, high expectations and then let them down, like you see happen a lot. And so what we're teaching you guys is not to overpromise stuff and underdeliver. That's a tangible way to say it. You're going to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And I promise you, this line of thinking that I have experienced over the last couple of years, and so has Amy, is going to afford you a business that when you build it, you don't have to build it again and again and again like most people think they do when they don't understand any better and they get into that quantity mindset and desperate mindset, which we're not going to operate from. So that's my thought on that. So come on out, Scott.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Scott.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. All right. Now, as far as first off, I just want to say, with being on here and Chris, you talking, and Amy, you talking, and getting to know you guys better, I got to say I am definitely thrilled that I joined this team. I like exactly what you're talking about doing things the right way. Because as you look online, there is all these things. Make $10,000 in one day, yada yada yada, and then you join up with that person, and then you don't get any results, and etc. So I just want to say, honestly, I'm proud to be on this team. The way that you're talking about coaching, I think, is huge to help everybody. And so, 2 thumbs up to the both of you. And so with that, I'm just going to go into, I guess, a quick question that I have. You kind of answered it a little bit as I was going. Is really with the autoresponders. I'm sorry. Now with the autoresponders, are you just using the generic ones that Empower Network has? And what I mean by that is when somebody says, "Hey, I want info," you send them the link. They click on that, and then they get that email, which is a generic email. Are you guys using those? But then I also saw you guys were saying that you kind of do your own thing.
Yeah. So very, very good question. Thank you, Scott. And this is a chance where I'm going to open something up here real quick for people and actually show you something inside of a product that I've created. I'm going to show you a slide from there that actually gives you the psychological flow of how this works most optimally. Is that okay? All right. So first, to get to your point there before I get rolling on that, and it's only going to be a minute, but it's like a 7-email outline for you. Let me first address what's not, which is these default swipe emails that Empower gives you, or they don't give too many anymore, but these emails are not personality based. They're only product feature system based. And so the thing is, a lot of these people that you may be marketing to are on multiple lists, and so they get that email from a lot of people, the same one. Well, what does that mean? You're no different than them. So there's no differentiation and value proposition that says, hey, here's why you should join me rather than somebody else. Here at the Next Level Mastermind, we teach you, and we have training coming up as well, that's going to help you differentiate yourself in a way that helps whatever's best about you offer your unique perspective, how to maximize that and use that in your marketing so that when people choose to join you, they know what they're getting, they know why they're getting it, and they know why it's better than somewhere else. So there's a quick process to this. And the first one is, it's all about expectation conditioning, okay? So Scott, when you have someone opt into a page, the best thing is, and we're going to teach some of this, is, my cat just almost made that that lamp fall over. Hold on. So, okay. Yeah, that was funny. So the best way here is, giving the proper expectation. So when someone opts in, they're going to get that lead magnet or whatever in their email, preferably. But the thank you page we recommend is a custom thank you page where it's you with a video. It's a thank you video. It's a bridge video. It's bridging you to the next exposure and getting a chance to thank them, build trust, and confirm what they're going to get, give them the proper expectation of what they're going to get in their email, telling them they're going to receive it from you, your name, with the subject line this in their email, so they get all. It's just like a call to action. It's the same thing. You have to tell them what to do. And so in your email or in your bridge video, you're going to tell them that to expect all those things, and then you're going to shift into why you're going to show them the next exposure, which is normally going to be a sales video or your offer. And you're going to talk up the person of credibility that's doing the page, that's doing the sales video or whoever, and basically say, look, you need to listen to this person, here's why. And now, click the button below and you're going to go and watch this video. Now, let me give you an example of that. So let's say I had a lead magnet that was like, the 3 things you need to do to increase conversions on your blog, right? Specific to bloggers. And so I'm like, hey, as soon as they opt in, it goes to the thank you page. It's like, hey guys, Chris Russell here. Thanks so much for opting in. In your email, you're going to receive my free ebook titled The 3 Things You Need to Do to Increase Conversions on Your Blog Posts. And you're going to hear, the headline's going to be from me, Chris Rushlow, and my last name's a little weird, so it's Rocheleau. And the headline's going to be that product, how to increase your conversions, have 3 ways to increase your conversions on your blog posts. And so open that email, it's going to give you those 3 things, and you're going to be able to implement that in your blog right away, which is awesome, okay? And that's going to help you, and it's going to give you, if you start implementing that right away, that's going to give you a jump in conversions right away if you do it right, okay? Now, next thing is, I want to thank you so much for opting in and being here, and this is what I'm really about. It's about really helping people. It's about really, showing people how this is done right, because I'm connected in with people who have learned how to do this right, and they've shown me, and I've been able to implement it, which is why you're getting that that report, that ebook in your email. So that's my gift to you. Now, the cool thing is, in the next video, I'm going to show you a guy who has done this to a level that I know has done it to no level that anyone else has, and has done, created a six-figure, monthly income from these strategies. And so that's my buddy Dave, and you're going to watch his video. He's going to show you how you can use a blog to really turn it on and do it in a way that works very well and create a lasting six-figure residual income. Obviously, his results are not typical, but hey, he's done it. So best practices are that's what worked for him. You can probably use it for you. Okay, so be on the lookout for an email from me, and listen to Dave in the next video, and then be on the lookout for other emails from me over the next couple of days, where I'm going to send you even more info on how to blog right and how to do that well, and other aspects to your business that you'll love. And that's just free bonuses for you. So take care. We'll see you soon. Read that lead magnet, but before you do that, watch the next video. We'll see you on the inside. Giving all the proper expectations. That's a proper bridge video. Once you have that, then there's a psychological process that goes on. Let me quickly show you guys one slide that I have as a reference that's actually in my Epic Story product that we're going to talk about later. And it's the actual follow-up process that I used, that I also even built team vision-based autoresponders, which are a step up from system autoresponders. We used those in the team very effectively for a long time. And then we got to a point where we were like, we want to teach people higher level stuff, and so they need to know this and then create this for themselves, because that's going to help them even more do this to a level that they haven't done before, because they need to learn how to do this for themselves, or else we're crippling them over the long period of time. So we made the decision that although we may not be doing all the, hey, done for you, you don't have to do a damn thing, we'll do it all for you type mentality, me acting as your savior, which is not the reality. And beware of people who act like that and talk like that. They don't have your best interest at heart. I'm just telling you, I've seen enough of this. What we want to do is show you and empower you how to do this in the fashion of Empower Network. That's why we created Empower and named it. I gave it its name. Some of you know that, some of you don't. But I was sitting there with Dave, and I was like, he was like, we want to do something that empowers people. And we were having this conversation for a long time about, we got to be different. And he's like, we got to show people what this is really about, instead of just like people taking advantage of people all the time. I want something that empowers people. And I was like, dude, let's call it Empower Network. And hence it was born. Okay? So just in that same fashion, I want to show you guys this real quick. And so let me quickly share my screen. And I'll show you guys. This is the, let me go full. Here we go. Okay. So elements of a strategic follow-up. Now, Scott, I think this is probably going to answer your question, but let me run through this real quick. Is obviously the first email is the delivery of that lead magnet. You have to deliver on what you say, which is actually a subconscious trust building element that, whatever you say you're going to do and giving them an expectation, and then you automate that so that you follow through 100% of the time, is a very good trust building element. Scott, you get that as some of the conversations we've had. So the second email is going to be, a Q&A. A lot of people will get kind of like, they'll see the sales video, they'll see the lead magnet, they'll read through, but we all know that people retain like, half of what they read and watch and everything. So the second email on the second day, after they've had a chance to sleep on it and they're thinking about it and they haven't bought yet, but they're like, okay, I need to digest some of this information. They wake up the next morning and all of a sudden they have questions in their mind. And so we send them to a Q&A that clarifies most of those commonly asked questions. And so those Q&As, one of those are created already for you, that you just send out an email and then link it to the Next Level Mastermind page that has the Q&A, and you put your user ID after it and you're done. It's real quick, right? Third one is a case study and social proof. That's where you can send them to videos that we've had of people who have had success. Amy did one a while back about how she was, blogging and bringing people in, and so that was, an illustration of the flow and what could happen and what happens when you do and take the actions that she does. So the third email is really about telling stories about other people and talking about the successes that other people have. Always making sure to be realistic, because if you're not, you're shooting yourself in the foot in the long run, and people will leave and not come back if you lose their trust. So these are true stories, but you always need to let them know, hey, this is what worked for them. Results not typical. You know, you don't want to give a false expectation, because you see some people are crossing over and toying with a different value set. That's some other stuff we'll teach later for you. But, you know, a value set, someone may be really entrenched in value set, you know, like 4, for instance, and they're really all about, you know, they're an employee mindset. They've been working a job their whole life, and so their idea of making things happen is showing up to a job, doing just enough to get by and not get fired, and they still get the same paycheck as the person who's doing all they can and going above and beyond in the extra mile in the same job, and they still get the same paycheck. Well, that's not an entrepreneur mentality. But when you have someone who says, hey, you know, get my $500 a day formula, you see the employee goes, oh, well, I just have to buy this and then do as little as possible and press a few buttons, and then I can make $500 a day, because that person can't be lying, and they're saying, I'll show you exactly how I did it. And the funny thing is, most of the time they don't. So remember that. That's the slight edge in marketing right, is making sure, you know, don't lose sight of the forest for the trees. You know, the short front end selling the opt-in or selling the small sale up front just to weed out and get a 5% upgrade, 5 out of 100 people choose to buy the next product or stick around the second month. That's bullshit. It's ridiculous. And it doesn't need to happen in this industry. And I'm on a mission to change this, because I've been able to do this, and my upgrade rates and my retention rates are like 2 to 3 times higher than people in the industry. So, you know, this is what I'm attempting to show you guys here. So just keep in mind, your third email is a case study, social proof, stories of other people. You'll see people post YouTube videos of their stuff, and you'll hear stories on Empower Hour calls and stuff like that of people. And you can write emails and write a blog post about those people. You don't have to necessarily go take their video. You can talk about them, show a picture of them, and even make it their first name and their last initial, so that they don't go Google that person and try to join them. Okay, I know some of you are worried about that. In the long run, it really doesn't matter if you're giving value and building trust, right? And they'll still join you. And that's it. So this can be easy. Don't make it hard. It's talking about somebody else. Do a blog post about somebody else who's had success, and talk about them and what they've done, and make sure, like, look, you know, they took massive action. They went crazy. They did things that were uncomfortable, but you know, this is possible. So do you want this? You know, just put a challenge in front of them. People like challenges. You know, I know how to motivate Amy. I challenge her anytime I need to challenge her. That's when she's like, oh hell no. You know, she loves winning contests. You know, so I don't get into contests too much. She loves them. You know, because she loves challenges. And that's what charges her. She needs that. A lot of people need that. Okay, so that's the third email. The fourth one is an engagement one. The headline normally looks something like this: how come we're not friends yet? Question mark. Or, hey, are we friends yet? Or, have you seen this Facebook post? You know, the email is more like, hey, I have a Facebook post for you that if you go and read and comment on it, or if you like my fan page, it's going to unlock a separate tab for you that gives you something, and it may be another kind of a little free blog post that you turned into a PDF and made a little report out of it, or something of value that gives them a mechanism to go like your fan page and engage with you, so that if they stop opening your emails, because we know that emails drop off after the 5th email quite significantly, you want to get in here and hook in with them and connect with them in other ways, so that it doesn't necessarily stop them from you being able to get in front of them before they've made a decision to join you. So fourth one is really about engagement, and you may send them to your Facebook, you may send them to your YouTube channel to subscribe to that. Give them some kind of mechanism that says, if you subscribe or if you like my fan page, you're going to get something else. And so there's ways we'll show you to do that type of stuff. In Facebook, it's easy to, you know, create a tab that only people who like the fan page is enabled for. You know, and you just tell them to go like my fan page and you'll get this. So that's an engagement mechanism, okay? So that hooks them in, so that even if they're not opening that email, you post something on your fan page and they may see it. So you still can get in front of them. All right, next on is the takeaway. Normally a special offer where you're offering a few extra bonuses, a few extra things, and the extra bonuses may be a couple reports that you wrote a post about that you turned into a report or a PDF, and you're like, look, you know, you're going to get these things, or hey, you're a part of the Next Level Mastermind. Here's all the cool things you get when you join the Next Level Mastermind too, but you have to join through this link in order to get that. That's the 5th and final one that's really the, you know, gets in front of people, that finally moves them to take an action, is the takeaway. Okay, it's like scarcity, and I don't like to do a lot of scarcity, fear-based type, fear of loss type marketing. I know that it motivates some people. The long term is normally not that good, but I also know that you don't have just one or the other. It's not just scarcity or fear. And on the other side of the coin is love, and we all sit around and sing kumbaya and everything's sunshine, rainbows, and roses. It's not just that. It's the best of both worlds. It's talking about both. It's showing contrast that, hey, this is what you could have, but you've got to take advantage of this through this link today or you don't have it. You see, you're giving contrast. You're giving a denominator to give shape to the numerator. For some of you who like math, who are very analytical, left-brained, I'm sure you love that analogy. And some of you are like, what the hell did he just say? And so all I'm saying is contrast. You've got to give a negative in order to display the benefits of the positive. You've got to give scope. You've got to. They don't know. It's kind of like if you broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and all of a sudden you've had withdrawals for the last couple of weeks. You haven't had them around. You haven't had that connection, that conversation, all the things that you didn't even realize that you kind of took for granted that were so good, and you had to have a couple of weeks without it. And you're like, wow, I realize how good that was now. Okay, you're going to talk about the same kind of thing here. You have to let them know how good it actually is. Well, how do you do that? You compare it to how bad it actually could be. So even in copywriting, it's something called risk reversal, where you're like, look, you can continue to not take action today and have the same results that you're having today as you will tomorrow, and your life will never be different and it will still be miserable. Or you can take action today and have the possibility of tomorrow being different and not having all that stuff. That's up to you. You see, you put it on them. See, that's called risk reversal. So keep that in mind, all right? That's the takeaway. That's a very important email. You really want to emphasize the contrast of that, okay? But you don't want to fearmonger, because then they get the vibe, they're like, oh, man, this person's just, you don't want to bring in a bunch of people who are motivated by fear of loss all the time, because all you have to do is be a fear-mongering carpetbagger to keep them around, and you have to scare them all the time into taking any kind of action. Well, I don't want to run my business that way, and I know you don't either, or else you wouldn't be here, because we don't market that way here. So that's 5. Now, to finish up real quick, 6th is the option to talk one-on-one free coaching session, and you normally want to put, even if it's $50 an hour of coaching, even when you're new, you learn a few things. You can teach a few things to new people, right? And if you're new, then you want to market to other new people, so you don't have experts being like, hey, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to join you, right? So real simple there, but this is how you can get on the phone with someone and actually sponsor someone as well. You may just need to answer a few questions, and they need to know that you're real and that you just reach out and say, hey, man, I just want to connect. I mean, how can I help you? What can I give you? I may be able to give you access to something that will help you. What's your problem? Let me solve your problem for you. So that's another way of engagement, that someone they may want to really be able to have a connection with someone. And so, this is optional for some of you. You don't want to get on the phone with people, and that's fine. But this is what I like to do as well, because this allows me to get on the phone with someone. And when I get on the phone, I'm going to solve their problems and upgrade them one way or another. So after that, 7th, is value-based emails with content. So they just basically, you start saying, hey, I wrote a blog post about this. This is the title. This is what the things it solves and answers in this blog post. Click here to read it. Short emails. Some people may just not be ready, and they need to see more value in teaching before they decide to join you. That's it, guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and let's bring it back over. All right, so that's about it for that. Scott, how did that sound? Did that answer questions for you?
Yeah, definitely answered those questions. I just got to really, the only thing is I was trying to use GetResponse, to like create my own, I guess, email to them, and I was having a hard time. So, but I know that Amy's mentioned using Jing, and I know there's like a Optimizer Plus or something out there, so definitely get something like that and make it easier to do that. So, but yeah, other than that, that definitely solved the question that I had as far as what you were kind of using, because I know my background, I also was in MLM, a company called 5 Links, and so we did the 3
I know about it. Yeah.
We did the BBRs, we did inviting 50 people. 10 come or 5 come, 1 gets started. So that's why I feel your pain, Amy. I've been on the phone, spent tons of time on the phone. So I'm just trying to incorporate what I knew from there into this, because it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, that answered it. And so here, I'll go ahead and I'll click it back over to you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Go Go ahead, Amy. Got anything there?
Yeah, well, the same thing I always say, which is all the things that Chris talked about with even if you have autoresponder emails given to you by Empower Network, or if we used to give them out to our people as well, and if we end up doing that again, even if you have like a decent campaign that's in place for autoresponders, and even if you put together an autoresponder campaign like Chris just laid out, that's awesome. You don't want to just rely on those autoresponders. Like he said, I can't stress enough the importance of continuously sending out broadcast emails. Every time you post on your blog, every time you make a video, you want to send your list to check that out. You want to be creating value and sending your list to check that out, because it just helps people get to know you, like you, and trust you. And so, more importantly than any autoresponder campaign that you can use is stay in front of your people and give them value and stand out. Like Chris said, if you're using a campaign code from whatever it is, Empower, Next Level Mastermind, or some pre-written emails, it's not your own words. You want to be able to stand out from other people, and so I would recommend either editing the emails to put your own personality in them, adding your picture and your signature, like make it your own in some way, or just rewrite it in your own words or write your own campaign. So that's all I really have to add to that.
All right. So yeah, cool. And Scott, just one last chance there if you have any other quick thoughts. But before that, I'll just say that right now with just following up, you can create those in GetResponse. And when it comes to a bridge video, that stuff, some of that I think can actually be done inside of GetResponse with some of their thank you pages. And you can also have a bridge video that you can just create a page on your blog that has a video, a YouTube video that you create and embed right on that page. And from there, you have a button below that's coded to you that is your, Empower Network Sales video link with your user ID at the end of it. And so you don't necessarily have to go buy these, Optimize or, this other stuff. You can use your blog for a lot of this stuff, and we'll have training in the future that, you'll know if you need to buy something like lead pages or other stuff once you get to that point. But right now, what I would say is the most important part is doing it. And you can always upgrade your systems and stuff that you have. There's no need to spend extra money on that stuff right now. We'll show you what works best for what at that time. When we do that in the future, then you guys can make decisions on that stuff. And I'm looking at a few options where we may have some lead page stuff that we can essentially have replicated and set up for you guys, and you guys fill in the blanks type of cool stuff going on. So I don't want you to go out and start buying a bunch of this stuff yet, because we're going to get this integrated in here and with the team too. So on that note,
the other thing I want to add about that is we use, I know I post stuff in the Facebook group about sometimes we'll take our Hangout and make it into a blog post on the Next Level Mastermind site. That site is coded, you guys. It's not coded for capture pages, like our own capture pages, but it's coded if we have a button for somebody to join or a button for somebody to get more information, like the Empower capture pages are, it's coded for all of that. So use those pages. I know I always, I'll create a blog post and I'll post it in the Facebook group and let you guys know, like, go blast that blog post out, because that's a capture page. That's a sales page. I like the button, like I was just talking about below this video right now, goes to the new sales page that I just made for you guys. That's team specific for the 21-day blogging challenge. So we're trying to always create this kind of stuff too. Like Chris said, we'll have more stuff in place in the future, but there's always stuff that you can use to market the Next Level Mastermind as your front end. We're constantly creating stuff like these this Hangout page. Until we do another Hangout, this recording will be on this Hangout page. You can send people here. There's a join button underneath it. You can send people to any of the blog posts that are on the front of the Next Level Mastermind site, because this whole site is coded. So as long as you have your username at the end of the link, wherever anybody goes on the site, if they end up at a capture page or a sales page, it's coded to you. So this is the other thing that you can use that's going to make you stand out from the majority of the people in Empower Network, because it's you have to be in the next level mastermind to be able to use this site to promote your business, and it's we're doing what we can to make it easy and awesome for you guys. Like the 21-day blogging challenge page that I just put up the other day, that sales page, nobody else in the Power Network has that. And it's got a little bit of training on it so people can kind of see how easy this is. Like you do your keyword research, and then when you have a blog, and then boom, $7. And we've got, team members on there talking about their experiences. We've got social proof. We've got Max on there going, $7, that's a grand latte, no whip, whatever at Starbucks. Like it's, so anyway, it's a short and sweet, it's got training, but it's only like a 50-minute video. So it's a really good, in my opinion, it's a good way to get people in the door for $7. So use that page. That's what it's there for. So this stuff is all, like Chris said, it's put in place for you so that if you don't know how to build a capture page, or if you don't have lead pages or optimized press, you can use the stuff that we're always creating here for you as well. And I recommend doing that because it'll make you stand out from the other, generic stuff that people are doing. Now that being said, we have a whole new funnel that's about to be launched next week. That's going to be amazing. So the minute that thing is launched, it's going to be brand new to everybody. So I'm going to be using it just the way that it is. And I do what you want, but I would recommend that you use it because given what we've seen of it so far and knowing what Mars is up to and knowing that, nobody has seen this thing yet. So when it first comes out, it's your chance to get it out there in front of people. And just like Dave Wood talked about last night, I was out last night. I didn't catch the whole hangout, but I watched some of it this morning, and I know he was talking about, like, are you building your list? Are you getting your list ready for what's about to happen next week? There's something really exciting happening next week. So if you're building your list now, and then the minute that funnel comes out next week, you send it to them, get it in front of them before anybody else does. That's going to be a really good opportunity for you to, get some momentum in your business. Uh-oh, Scott's got like a camera out.
I know, right? Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. And just to keep in mind, guys, that, a lot of people have this mindset of, we're going to give you this funnel and you can expect this measurable result from it, and they haven't said what the measurable result is yet. We're gonna go with that because we know we're using stuff that is state of the art and stuff that works. But it's going to work pretty well at first. And so that's good, but remember that people don't join a system, they join you. And so what's going to make that sales video and any sales video out there work even better, and this one's probably going to work pretty well, is I was just having this conversation with a leader today. He was like, I don't know about this, different certain funnel or this one. I'm not sure how I can tie that in. And I said, you and I both know at this point in our careers that people don't join these systems, they join people. So it's what we do around those sales videos. It's the blog posts and the content and the emails that we do around it. It's the videos that we do around it and why they choose to join us. They just need a vehicle. Well, you represent a vehicle, but why are they getting in that vehicle with you? So keep that in mind, is that now we've got an awesome converting thing coming out here real soon, but how you're going to capitalize on it and make it even better is you. The secret is not these things. The secret is you. So that's my thought on it. Real quickly, before we wrap up here, just want to shoot it back over to Scott real quick. Any other quick questions here to finish up before we move on to the next thing?
No, I don't have any more questions. You guys have done a pretty good job at answering that question for me. So I appreciate that. I'll send it back over to you, Chris.
All right, buddy. We're going to see you in Vegas, right?
Yes, I'm going to try to make my way up there. So I was planning on it. I had some things kind of happen that sent me back a little bit from where I planned to be, but I'm going to do whatever I can to get out there because I know how the events are. And, for the people watching this, if you've never been to one, I suggest going because the information that you learn is just unbelievable. And especially, having the opportunity to actually meet Chris and Amy, just because I know some of the other events that I've gone to in the past with other companies, just the knowledge you get from it and the interaction with the people is huge. So I hope to see all you guys there. I'm only about 4.5 hours away, so if I don't go the whole 3 days, I'm going to try to get there at least one day.
Perfect. That's awesome. Cool. Well, we look
And the other piece of that, I can't wait to meet you in person, Scott. And this is the other piece, guys, is for those of you that have been wanting, one-on-one time and coffee time and all this stuff. Like, that's where it happens. It happens every 90 days. We get together with our team, with the people on our team that are committed, because those are the people that show up at events. Like, I know Thea is flying to Vegas from Connecticut. Thea has never missed an event since she's been in Empower. Neither have I. Neither has Chris. There's certain people on the team that, we see them at every event. And we know who the people on our team are that are committed, and those are also the people that get the results, because that's where the juice is. That's where the magic happens, is at the events. And so, Scott, I really look forward to meeting you in person. If you're here watching this and you're not part of our Next Level Mastermind, Scott is one of our newer members of the team. He just joined us a short while ago, and so we haven't even met him in person yet. So that'll be really, it's always really fun when we get to, give someone a hug for the first time and really, see someone in person, because the fact of the matter is people look different in person than they do on Facebook. It's like Facebook comes to life when we get to the hotel, that's what it always feels like to me, especially not so much just with our team, because our team, we have intention videos and we hang out, we kind of feel like we know each other, but with other people in the company who are sending us messages on Facebook and this and that, it's like Facebook walking around in the hotel. And it's fun. It's always funny to me too, because people come up and they're like, hey! I'm supposed to know who they are because we've chatted on Facebook, but they don't. They're either shorter than I thought they were, taller than I thought they were. They just look nothing like their picture on Facebook or whatever. It's hilarious. So, and it's really, really good to meet people in person and be together, because we always do something for our team at the events, whether it's a breakout session or a meet and greet or a couple of different meetings where we get together. And we had a really powerful one at the last event in Orlando that we recorded. Remember, we passed we had a real microphone and we passed it around and everybody set their intentions. And yeah, so we do some cool stuff for the team, and it is really where we get to know each other. The people that come to all of the events are the ones that, they know each other. They room together. You can room together. You can really get to know people. So if that's an issue for anybody watching this, if the hotel expense is an issue for you, post in our Facebook group that you're looking for roommates, because sometimes people will put 4 people in a room, sometimes even more. Chris has arranged it for our team in the past where he's gotten it down to whatever, $50 for the whole weekend, but you have to you have people sleeping on the floor, and
he's sleeping bag. There's 10 people in the room.
Yeah.
We had a girl.
People had a good time doing that, they're like, wow, this is fun, and it was for people that are on a budget, you still get to stay in a nice hotel, you get to be where the action is, but you just have to bunk up with a bunch of people. And he had the girls' room and a boys' room.
And I walked in the girls' room, and it was immaculate for 10 women. I was like, how is this happening? And it was clean. And then I walked in the boys' room, and I was like, oh, what is going on in here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good times. So
yeah.
When we get to
anyway, don't let your excuses be bigger than your
why.
Your why. You need to do whatever it takes. And when you listen to some of the stories, like Aaron Rashkin, Dave Wood, some of the top earners in our industry, when Chris even, I think, has a story about an event where he's his first event, sleeping in someone else's room or whatever, not having enough money to pay for a room.
You guys want me to tell you that story?
Dave inviting him into his room or whatever, but it happens all the time where people will sleep in the hotel lobby, or we had a woman that got up on stage at one point during one of the events, and she said she bought a one-way ticket with no idea how she's getting home, but that was her commitment. And people in the audience paid her way back. That's what people do when they see your commitment, is they'll, she just put it out to the universe. I'm just getting a one-way ticket. I'll figure it out when I get there, and it got figured out for her because of her commitment. Thea is saying in the comments that she has room for 1 woman at the hotel. Message her on Facebook. So if you are looking for a room and you're a woman, Thea has a room, and you can be roommates with her. And she's an awesome roommate. She was my roommate at the San Diego event, and we had a great time.
It's not so much like, yes, Amy, you're perfectly right on. Like, you've got to find a way to get there. But it's also what happens there, even beyond the relationships, because we kind of create these friendships online through Hangouts and through Facebook and through the group, and then we make them real and we solidify them at the event. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, so Amy, if you have something there, I'm actually going to go into a quick story, but if you've got something. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of people here that haven't heard this story, so I'm going to tell it. This was one of the most transformational moments of my life, and it had to do with an Empower event. And so essentially, a lot of you know who Justin Berengia is. And you see, at the Atlanta event, Justin wasn't going to go, and one of the reasons is that he could barely afford it. And last minute he decided, and he changed his mind, and he posted in a chat group that I was in, like, hey, anyone have an extra room? I didn't have to share my room, and I had my own room, but I kind of was like, I got the vibe. I was like, maybe I need to help this guy. And I went and looked at his blog, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of resonating, I'm vibing, I'm resonating with him, And so, I sent him a message that said, hey, sure, you and your wife can come in, and we'll just split the room, and cool. And so he eventually showed up. We ended up becoming the best of friends, and he's a kindred soul brother now. And from that event, he took off. And what happened at that event was he was making like $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Results not typical, although that's not much in Empower anyway. At the time, he got to that event and realized that it was real, and saw who was involved, and saw people making money in it, and got to connect and have conversations with people like Aaron Rashkin, who taught him about a bridge video, and he got to have conversations with Dave, who talked to him about how he's going to come down to his house and come see him, because he lived in Costa Rica at the time too. And so he made all these connections with people, just the best of the best people. And what happened, long story short, is over the next 90 days, he made over $30,000. And the month before the event in October, which comes down to my story, is that he made $26,000 in just primary income from Empower that October. And that was amazing, right? I mean, it's just a quantum leap just from the events, and he credits most of it to what happened at the event and then his experience with Dave down in Costa Rica. Now, a lot of you are like, well, heck, if I was, hanging out with Dave Wood at his house in Costa Rica and he saved me from drowning, I may have an amazing story too. Well, but Justin did the work, and that's nothing, we can't refute any of that. And we know that. And I know how hard he works, because the tables turned in San Diego at that event. You see, I helped him out, and I got to a place where I was actually gonna not even stay at a hotel room for that event, and I was still just barely getting by with Empower. I really hadn't turned it on yet, and I actually was going to stay down the street at a friend's house, who at the time I was dating her, and then we decided to just be friends, and it wasn't going to be, and we were fine with that. That was good, but I wanted to be closer to the event. And so I was having a conversation with Justin, and I was like, look, man, I know the hotels, they're all sold out, and I'm going to be staying down the street at Tashina's house, I want to be at the event. He's like, dude, come stay in my room, man, like, you helped me out, just come stay in my room and be around everyone, you need to be there, you're important to me, you're important to us, you're important to this company. And I was like, cool, man, I really appreciate that. So I actually stayed the weekend with him. It wasn't necessarily that I was, I couldn't afford it, but it was that, there was no rooms left, just like there was no rooms left in Atlanta for him. So he returned the favor. But here's the thing that happened that was amazing for me, because, Justin had his transformational experiences stemming from the Atlanta event, but it really happened for me in San Diego. And I went into that event, and I was frustrated with life. I just come out of a relationship that I was like still kind of, bummed about. And I was really at a point where I started to say to myself, I really want to know why it seems so easy for other people to do it and why it's so difficult for me. And I kept asking myself that, and I finally, walking into the event Friday night, it's like I sat down on the sidewalk, outside the convention center, and I was watching the cars pass by, and it was just starting to get to where it was starting to get, the moon was coming up, and it was getting dusk, and or dawn, with dusk, yeah, just it was starting to get dark, and I'm looking around as the colors are all, from the city just starting to light up, and as it's getting darker and it's looking beautiful, and I'm out here and I'm just like, I'm at an event where I helped start this company, and I'm not even producing like I know I'm capable of. What's the problem? And I said to myself right there, actually said it out loud, and this is the thing I'm really wanting to get across here is this thing. I set a clear intention, and I was like, I gotta know what's stopping me from taking it to the next level. I want to know whatever it is. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I don't care what it is. I want to know what it is. And I'm saying it just like this, sitting on a curb, on a street curb, watching cars go by, and I'm like, I want to know what it is that's stopping me from taking it to the next level and having the kind of income I know I deserve. Focused intent, okay? So I set that intention, which is why we're so big on intention. I set this intention. And to me, I meant it because I said it out loud, and it's like I proclaimed it to the universe, and I was like, I gotta know. And I was willing. I was really willing. It was like that quote. I don't remember who. If I think about it for a minute, I'll remember. But it's the one that says, when one is fully committed and totally willing and fully committed, then the gods join in and providence moves in your direction. And it's paraphrased a little bit, but you get the idea. And I was like, I'm ready. Like I want to know what it is. Whatever it is, I need to know what it is so I can handle it. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I'm not going to make excuses for myself anymore. What is it? And so it's funny how there were almost 4,000 people at that San Diego event, and Rob Four's up on stage that first night, and he's walking everybody through this exercise where he said, close your eyes. He says, I want you to tell yourself a goal that you want that right now your brain believes is out of reach, just a little out of reach. I want you to tell yourself as if you mean it and you're promising yourself you're going to hit that goal. And to me, I was like, 150,000 next year, in the next 12 months. And as I said it, I felt this knot in my stomach. It's like my stomach started to just roll and tighten up into knots. And I'm saying to myself like, And Rob says, now listen to your body, and you're going to get a sensation somewhere. Sure enough, I'm like, wow, my stomach is like doing belly flops right now. And he said, now ask your brain to give you a memory that explains to you or shows you a time or something that happened to you that told you it wasn't okay and you weren't worth or capable of hitting this goal. I was like, oh, yeah, right. I'm kind of like still doubting this at this moment. I'm feeling this knot, and I'm like, okay, well, that's my sign, but really, my brain's going to give me a memory? Okay, yeah, right. And so I close my eyes, and I'm like, okay, where is this coming from? And I'm telling you, it's like I saw it clearly. In my mind's eye, I was like transported in time. I was like time traveling. I was 4 years old again, and I was sitting in my mom's daycare. She had a daycare, and I was there, and I was the youngest boy, and there was all these boys that were 5 and 6 and 7. And I remember this particular scene where we're in the rec room, and I'm talking about all these things I want to do and all these ambitions, because I kind of had this ambitious thing about me ever since I was born, And it's like I started talking about it, and all the boys, they were like laughing at me, and like, they weren't accepting what I was saying. And they were older, and they were like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? You can't, what? Because they didn't believe in themselves either. And they were young kids. They didn't know any better. But the experience for me was, if I be myself, I'm not going to, be able to, be accepted. And obviously what I'm talking about is crazy, so why should I hold myself to this high goal? And so all of a sudden, like, I got that, and and I opened my eyes, and I'm sitting back there in the front row. Key. There's a tip for you. Front row of the event. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the frick just happened? But I remembered that, and I was like, that's interesting, and I need to kind of process this. Like, I had that thing happen. Could this really be something, you know? And so I just kind of like let it, let it go for the night. So the following night, Saturday night, I'm out at dinner. I'm out at a table with Justin Varengia. Rob Four is sitting right next to me. A lot of good, close friends sitting at that table, top producers. And all of a sudden, Rob, who, he'd been having a tough time, in his life, and he comes to the events to really let loose and have fun. So he drank a little too much. People kept on handing him drinks, and so he had drank more than he really wanted to. So he's kind of like slouched over, on the table after we'd eaten, and he's just kind of like, he almost looks comatose. And I kind of look over at him and I kind of tap him like, dude, you all right? And it's like this other person. He looked up at me and looked at me in the eyes, and it was like this other person in his eyes. And he said to me, dude, you're playing so small, it makes me sick to my stomach to watch. And everybody at the table heard it. And I remember that. And everyone's kind of looking around, and it's like that awkward moment where everyone's like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, what do you say to that? How do you go, okay, so how about them Yankees? Like, it was just weird, right? And I was kind of like, how could my buddy just, right in front of me, in front of our friends, embarrass me like that? Like I had an ego about it. I was like, how could you embarrass me? Rather than listening at the time. But I filed it in the back of my mind, and I was like, I'm playing small, huh? You think that? Now, mind you, I was doing a lot of SEO, and Rob is like, he's an SEO guy, and he's one of the best in the industry. And we would compete all the time. We considered each other equals in SEO. We were competing for the same keywords all the time, and it was always me number one or him number one and him number two or me number two, always right there, fighting back and forth. And so I just filed it away and was like, he's drunk, whatever, I'm just going to, let that go. But it bugged me. And I didn't let it go the rest of the week. The weekend, I was just in the back of my mind, when people would say stuff, I just kind of thought, playing small. Why? What? It's just bugging me. But you see, I now know that looking back when I set my intention, it's like now I was open and receptive to hearing what I needed. And I knew this was a clue. I knew this was a part of it. So then, the next day goes by, and my friend, the one I was in a relationship with that we decided to break up, we were still good friends and just decided to be friends. And it was kind of tough at times, that throughout those moments of the weekend, because she was going there to support me and was checking out the company and actually decided to join from being at the event. She lived down the street, so it wasn't a big expense to her to actually show up. But the thing is, I was already known in the company because I had done the Inner Circle interviews, and Dave had brought me on stage a few times and talked about things, and so a lot of people knew who I was because I had done the Inner Circle interviews. And so there's a lot of people that would come up to me and want to interview me and get videos with me and ask me questions. And I hadn't produced a lot yet, right? But because I had the notoriety and I had been put on this platform, I almost looked at it as unfairly, I had all this exposure. People wanted to talk to me. I had crowds around me. I had people wanting to, put on the camera and ask me questions, especially about SEO, because they knew I did SEO. And, what I noticed is that anytime I was answering these questions to Sheena, who was normally standing right there, when I got interviewed and they put the video on me, she'd walk away. And I just started remembering that. It was like all throughout the weekend, every single time I was on camera, she'd walk away. And to me, I'm thinking, what I'm saying might help her. Why? She's new. She could learn from this. Why is she walking away? And in my ego, I was kind of like, that's disrespectful. Like, what the heck? And so I was just kind of filed that in the back of my mind all weekend. So needless to say, the weekend, although it was an amazing experience and I got to connect with friends, there was a part of me in the back of my mind that was like, what's going on here? Something ain't right. So the weekend gets done, and it's Sunday night, and the event's over. And we all, put on the masks. Some of you have seen the pictures of the Guy Fawkes masks, and we did the crazy cool stuff, and we all had a good time. And some of you will hear about that later, so you don't know. It was a cool thing that happened at that event. So I'm sitting there Sunday night. It's about 9 o'clock. And we're at Tashina's house. I was going to go stay there that night before I flew out a couple days later. And so we're sitting out there in her driveway. And it's a beautiful night, clear night, big moon out and stars, beautiful night. And I'm kind of just processing everything. And Tashina's sitting there with me, and I say, and I finally turn to her and I ask her, and I'm like, I noticed that you walked away like anytime I was getting interviewed, and I just kind of, it was enough to where I don't know if this is some kind of thing or if you didn't notice it or recognize it, but was there a reason for that? I don't know why. It seemed like you walk away all the time. And she's like, yeah, well, I was. And, do you want me to be honest with you? I'm like, well, yeah, I need the truth. Because I'd set my intention. I was like, I need to know what this is. And she said to me, I'd walk away because it made me sick to my stomach to listen to you. Now you can imagine, I'm thinking, what? You hate me that much? I couldn't get it. And so I had to ask. I was like, why? What'd I do? And she said, it's simply because, Chris, you were being who you thought you needed to be to these people rather than being who you truly are and being okay with it. And when she said that, it's like it hit me, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, because it started to make sense that Friday night, all of a sudden I started having these flashbacks. Friday night, being in the daycare, and the boys telling me I wasn't enough, and me forming these beliefs around it. And then the next night being told I'm playing small by somebody I love and respect. And then, someone else I love and respect telling me, you're making me sick to my stomach to even be around you because you're not being authentic with yourself and true to yourself. And you're being who you think you need to be to people rather than honoring yourself first, which then honors others. And she said all that. And I'm like, and what happened next, I can't really explain. I don't really understand how this happened. Now, some of you may take it as a supernatural thing. Some of you will be like, oh, that's like how, the whole Ebenezer Scrooge story. Or some of you may be like, that was some kind of hallucination you had. Whatever the case may be, it's like I looked up at those stars and then looked down a little bit in front of me, in front of the street, and it's like this big movie screen just opened up. And on that screen, I started to see every moment in my life. And fast forward, in just a moment, it was like those near-death experiences that people have, and they talk about, they see their whole life flash before their eyes. Well, here I am sitting here, no traumatic thing has happened, but yet because of my intention that I set, my subconscious mind started to bring this all forward. And all of a sudden, it's like my mind was recapitulating everything in my life, and it was running a fast-forward tape, rewind all the way to the beginning, to that 4-year-old day when I'm sitting there in the daycare with those boys, and fast-forwarding and stopping for just a split second on every moment where that belief of my attitude of playing small and not being authentic with myself so I could be authentic with others was causing pain and suffering in my life and creating these relationships and friendships which were codependent and wrong and not in my highest good. And because of all that, I couldn't blog. I couldn't do my marketing the right way. And I started to see all of this. And I started to see all the times in my life where I created pain and suffering. And, the moments where, someone was like, Chris, it's not you, it's me. And I realized that was BS. It really was me. When I got broken up with in relationships and things like that. And I saw it all. And this was all like in a moment, and I'm just seeing all this in front of me. My eyes are open, and I don't know how that happened. And I'm okay with not ever really knowing how that happened, because I'm okay with even saying it was a directive of my subconscious mind to show me. The funny thing was, I realized at that moment why my life had been so tough and all the contrast of my life and the suffering and the struggle because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't put myself out there. I was playing small. I was playing really small. And because of that, I saw the suffering, and I saw how my life got me to this exact moment where I was sitting there. And I knew it, and I got it all in that moment. And when I got it, I broke. I teared up. I started crying uncontrollably. Tashina was like just hugging me, like holding me up as I'm crying, and I'm just like letting it out. And it was like after 15, 20 minutes, I'm finally wiping my nose clean and the tears from my face and realizing how much pain and suffering that I caused myself, nobody else. I created it. And I was taking responsibility for it. And I looked up at the sky again and I saw that big moon. And I was like, okay, a part of me that I've thought was real is now dead. And from this moment forward, I'm going to be totally authentic, no matter what, regardless of what anyone thinks. From now on, I can't not be me. And I know it's because of that focused intent and being very clear on wanting to know. And had I not gone to that event, it may have happened another way, eventually, if I set that intention. But I didn't set the intention until I got to the event and had a chance to have perspective on everything around me. And so that event became the turning point of my life. And it's like in that moment, I had this other recognition where I felt like there was someone standing next to me. It was almost like that Ebenezer Scrooge movie. And it's like I heard this voice. And I don't normally tell this part of the story because this is where it gets like woo-woo. And it's like I heard this voice say, he just got it. Finally. 31 years of struggle. Finally. He gets it. And my life has never been the same since. And what happened after that? I started blogging every day, not caring what anyone told me. And I told my story just the way I told you now. I put that on a blog post. And I can't even count how many signups I got from that blog post, just telling people this is what happened to me, this is my revelation, this is what I realized, and this is what I'm here to do. Are you with me? And in the next 90 days of blogging constantly, I attracted leaders to me. Amy came back. She wasn't ever gone, but she came into my life. I'd known her. We had been workout partners, and at that point, I was really starting to get to a point where I could really work with and create space for others because I was developing my vision that was bigger than my own selfish ego at the time. And so Amy joined me, others joined me, and in January, I had my first 5-figure month, 16,075. I remember. I've never looked back, only to gain perspective. Now, that intention I credit with putting into a series of events that led me to where I am sitting here right now with you. Because I got over myself and I went to an event and I allowed the process to happen. And I'm a different person, and I like this person a lot more. And I realize my purpose here, which is the same as Amy's, which is to transform people's lives. But we understand we have to live it first. And that's what we've done, which is why we feel we can sit here and show you the way. But remember, the point of that story focused intent. Setting an intention and getting to an event changed my life. And that's why I always look forward to the events. I've never missed an event. In fact, when there were regionals and there were 4 regional events happening within a 4-week or 3-week time span, I got in an RV with some friends and we went to 3 of them. And the only reason we didn't go to 4 is because 2 of them were happening the same weekend and we couldn't be in 2 places at once. I love the events. My life changed at the events. If there's any way you can make it, find a way. I'm not telling you to take out a second mortgage. I'm not telling you to sell your car. I'm telling you to find a way. And if everything gets in your way, I'm okay with accepting, hey, that's a sign from the universe that this one's not for you. I'm not going to twist your arm to get there. But if you feel deep inside of you that there is a reason for you to be there, then I already know it's already done, and you'll find a way. And how? Focused intent. Set the intention and ask yourself, what is it that you need to get there? And then when you do get there, ask yourself, what is it that I need personally for me to take it to the next level? What do I need to learn this weekend? It may be one of the speakers. It may be someone walks up to you and you have a conversation and they say something. And it sets into motion a chain of events, just like Rob did for me. Because this story, like mine, is not the only story you hear like this in Empower Network. And if you get to that event, you'll hear others. Focused intent. People think setting intention is all this woo-woo stuff. Science. Subconscious mind. Direct your mind. Get to Vegas. Back on over to you, Amy.
That was awesome, Chris. You moved a lot of people. I'm seeing here I'm about to correct in the comment streams. And you know, one of the things that came up for me, you were saying that that event was a turning point in your life. And when I think back over all of the events, all the Empower events, I think every single event has been a turning point in my life. And usually it's, you know, like Chris said, it's, you don't know why, or what's going to actually be the thing that makes it a turning point in your life. It's different at each event. Like I had one event where I was in breakdown because I was overwhelmed with the, you know, the size of the team and the amount of conversations that people were trying to have. Like I was completely overwhelmed, and I was meeting people for the first time in person that were on my team, and they were coming up to me at our breakout session and telling me, like, you know, I'm a single mom and here's my whole life story and this is what I had to do to get to this event. And I was just like taking on all of this stuff, and I felt this huge responsibility for these people, to the point where I started to melt. Like I started to lose it at the event, and I had to ask, like, Jordan came to my room to kind of talk to me, and he was like, you need to go watch number 11 of the master's course again. And so I did, and I had this huge breakthrough about the fact that I'm not Mother Teresa. And that wasn't anything that was taught on the stage at the event, but it was something that I needed to get. I'm like, if I'm going to move people, if I'm going to move mountains, if I'm going to grow a huge team of people, I need to learn how to not think I'm like going to save each of these people, that I'm not Mother Teresa, right? Like and that master's course changed my life, and I needed to have that experience in order to go back and have that breakthrough. The last event in Orlando was the best weekend of my entire life, because one of my dreams came true at that event. And it only came true because I didn't give up and because I stuck to it. And I had a vision for 3 years that I've been in Empower Network that I wanted to be asked to speak from stage. And I was asked to speak in Orlando, and I couldn't believe it. And then I actually spoke from stage, and it was like, it was like the most incredible experience ever. And when it was over, I was like I had all these people coming up to me, and I was just like, I can't even believe this is happening. Like, this is amazing. And it was this huge, I mean, when I got back, and like my dad and, you know, my friends, they always say, how was your trip? You know, and it's just like I couldn't even answer the question. Like, it was life changing on so many levels. You know, not just the experience of speaking, but the experience of having a vision for 3 fucking years, and having to keep holding on to that vision even when I thought, I mean, Chris knows, I was pissed a couple times, like, how come, you know, leaving, I won't say any names, but how come this person gets to speak and I don't? Like, what? How come they don't ask me? Like, what's, you know, like, I just felt like upset, you know, for a long time, and I just had to give that up and stick to my guns and stick to my vision, and then I got the call, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's time. And, you know, and it was a national event. It wasn't a regional event. It was like, you know, it was a huge honor. And so that for me, when I saw the whole thing happening, like Chris was standing on the platform with me in the back of the room, and I was getting mic'd up, and I was the first speaker of the day on Saturday, and the room was starting to fill up. And I just had tears streaming down my face because I was like, it's actually happening right now. Like, my dream is coming true right now. And, you know, so that was the experience at that event. It was a pivotal moment in my life. You never know what you're going to get at an event, and a lot of times, like Chris's story, it's going to be a series of conversations, or a conversation, or one thing that one speaker says that changes your life. You know, he was laughing at me earlier when I said I missed the hangout last night because I was at a CrossFit party, and we started laughing, and I'm like, my life changed last night in one conversation with my coach. He gave me a couple pieces of information that changed my freaking life last night. And I'm so pumped up right now because of it. And, you know, had I not gone to that, it started dumping snow here last night. And I thought, well, maybe we wouldn't go. I don't want to put my kids in the car and drive through a blizzard. And I did, and I'm so glad I did, because I had a conversation that changed my life. And that's what happens at events. That's what happens at every event. You know, just like Scott was saying, getting to meet the other members of our community, you know, the Next Level Mastermind and our larger community. You know, when you get to hug David Wood or Justin Brenzi, or, you know, just whoever it is that you know, look up to in the company. I mean, there's just so much magic that happens at these events. And it's one of our 8 core commitments. I mean, that's the other thing. The people that make 6 figures and empower, not all of the people that make, how do I want to say this? Not all of the people that go to events make 6 figures, but all of the people that make 6 figures are at every event. I don't think there's no like $1 million ring earners or anything like that just like don't show up. You know, they show up, and it's one of the 8 core commitments, and it's where the biggest breakthroughs happen. You could get on every hangout, every live cast, every webcast, every Monday night call, but the real magic happens in person at the events. And like Chris said, it's where it becomes real for people. I mean, when you get in the room, you cannot describe the energy that happens in those rooms. It moves people. Just being in the room moves people because of the vibration in there. So anyway, I don't need to beat a dead horse, but I can't stress enough the importance of it. The event's next week. I'm excited to see everybody. Vegas is one of the easiest places to get to in the country. We're staying at a really nice resort out on Lake Las Vegas. We're not going to be on the Strip or whatever. We're going to be out at our own place on a lake. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be special. And
I got shuttles running from the airport to the hotel.
So Empower is paying for our transportation. I mean, they just wait. If you've never been to an EmpowerNet event, I always say this. I even said this from stage. They treat us. They spoil us. You will be treated like beyond any way you've been treated before. That's just how they are. And anyway, it's just really awesome to be in a company that's so abundant and so about taking care of people. And anyway, get to the
one last thing that I want to kind of clarify on what happened with me. And one major point here that would be real good that would really serve you coming into this event, even if you don't come to this event, which we're not attached to. The people who are supposed to be there will be there. Are you one of them is the question. But you see, that whole playing small thing to me, let me tell you quickly how that manifested in my life. Ever since I was at MLM events when me and Dave were even in other companies, 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I'd have leaders, upline, come to me and be like, you have more potential than anyone here. You could do so much. You have the potential. You have the potential is what I would constantly hear. I remember Lori Harrell, one of my uplines. She's a top producer in the industry. She put her arm around me. We were walking across the street heading to the event, and she said, you have more talent in your pinky finger than I have in my whole body. You know that, right? And there was a part of me in my mind that was like, yeah, I do. I know I could be great. I could be. But I was comfortable with the potential. You see, the potential wasn't real. Potential is just potential. It's not real. It's just like potential energy. It could be there, but if applied right is when it's powerful, when it becomes real. And I had so many friends come up to me, even when I was helping Dave build his companies, even before Empower, when I was doing his SEO and I was running his events, and basically I just jumped in and helped my best friend do whatever needed to be done. But I was sacrificing myself. And me and Dave laugh about this now, and he knew it, but he knew I had to go through this process, which is why he paid me way less than someone else, because he wanted to motivate me to move on and not accept that. But I was accepting less. And you see, I was comfortable in potential. I would bank on potential in my life. I loved it when I was in real estate. I was even a top 10% producer in my town as a real estate agent for a lot of years. But I could have been number one. And everybody told me that. And I was like, yeah, I could be. Yeah. But I was comfortable with that potential because it was scary to step outside of that and go, okay, wait a second. Let's look at where I'm at and let's handle that. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when I kept on hearing Rob tell me, you're playing small, the parts that I saw in that movie was a lot of parts where those people were coming up to me saying, oh, you're full of potential. And I loved that. It made me feel good. It was safe for me to be in that potential. But I wasn't living my life. And I wasn't being the change I wanted to see in the world. And when I saw that, I realized I had to give up who I was in order to become what I really was capable of, instead of just waffling in that potential and never really utilizing it or applying it. People coming up to me saying, God, you could be you could be a six-figure earner in this industry every month. I know. Yeah. I liked that. It's my ego. But I didn't have to do it because everyone recognized the potential. And you see, the reason I'm saying this is I read this quote in a book, the second book in the Peaceful Warrior series called Sacred Journey of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. There's a quote in there by Charles Dubois, and it said, the important thing is this, to be ready in any moment to give up everything you are for everything that you can become. When I read that, it hit me. And I wasn't ready for it at the time. But when I was sitting there that night, one of the things I remembered after I saw that whole movie of my life in front of me was, I have to give up who I am. I have to let go of all of that I've constructed that's not even real, that I've been holding on to, lying to myself about. And when I let it go, I realized I had to really let it go. And that's a scary place to be, because then I had to deal with reality and go, am I doing the work every day that I know it takes? And if not, I got to be honest with myself. And that's when I started being honest with myself. And I asked myself, am I doing what it takes every single day, moving me closer towards what I want? And am I being who I need to be every day? And so what I'm telling you is that became the theme of my life. I even had to let go of my SEO company. I had to let go of being the SEO guru that leaders would pay me a lot of money to do, which was great. You think, oh, you're getting paid all this money. But, you know, it wasn't who I was. It wasn't me tapping into what I was capable of and being who I was supposed to be, part of my purpose. I can't set people free in their minds by ranking stuff on the search engines for other people. And so although I had this great reputation and I could rank it well on the search engines, which I let go of completely and didn't even do for my own business, I let go of all of it. And I started doing tactics that Jordan taught me, you know, and Facebook marketing and, you know, blogging, but not SEO. I didn't even build my business with SEO. I built others' businesses with SEO. I built Dave Wood's business with SEO. The thing is, I had to let it go, and that took courage. But that day I had the resolve to do it. And the reason I'm telling you this is there may be something that you're holding on to that's comfortable. And what I had to do was set the intention to find out what that was. And at the event, I found it. I found out what it was. And I had to let it go. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this, and I'm not going to tell you that the road ahead, if you want what you really want, isn't scary, because it could be. But it's worth it. And you'll thank yourself for taking that leap of faith and letting go of whatever it is that you find out doesn't serve you anymore. So be open to that. And you can set that intention now, even without going to the event. You can set that intention to go, I want to know what it is that's stopping me from taking this to the next level. For me being and living into what I'm fully capable of. What is it? Because I'll tell you, everyone thinks it's the strategy. And when I got over myself and out of my own way, the strategies came easy. And people read my blog posts and they took action rather than reading other people's blog posts who were just trying to tell them what they wanted to hear, and they could read through it and it wasn't authentic, and so they didn't do anything. All of a sudden, the same stuff I was doing before started to work. But you got to let go of the garbage first. You got to take out the trash. And from there, it gets easy, because that stuff is the resistance that's holding you back. Get rid of the resistance and just let it go. You see, you're resisting it from letting it pass. You're holding on to it, not letting it pass. If you let that pass, you'll have a new energy, you'll be able to look forward, you'll have a clearer vision and clarity, and you'll be able to start moving forward rather than holding on to something that's bringing you back into the past. Be willing in any moment to give up everything you are, scary, for everything you can become. Biggest secret I can ever give you. That's all I got.
Awesome. I posted a quote last night on my CrossFit blog because my life changed last night with that conversation, and I love this quote because it's kind of like what you just said, Chris, about giving up what you are for what you could become. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. You know, too many people hang on to their past, where they are or where they've come from, and use that as an excuse for why they'll never be where they want to be. None of that stuff is real. It's the past. You get to say, starting right now, what you're going to create. And you need to keep looking ahead. And you need to keep focusing on what you want, not the lack of it. And that's simple law of attraction stuff right there. But yeah, that's it. Kevin Brackney is on his phone. Kevin, I hope you can hear my voice right now. If you have the plug, I was going to see if I just asked him if he could jump out, because he told me a really powerful story the other day. I'd rather him share it than me. something that just happened to him about coming up with money that he didn't think he had. I think it would be really powerful for people to hear. He's on his phone, and he's asking how he can do it from his phone. There is a plugin or an app, right? I think it's called Google Hangout or something.
Yes, and the thing is, there's a little trick to it that why a lot of people have trouble with it. It's because you need to have two apps, and both of them open. One is the Google Plus app, and then the Google Hangouts app. And you need to be logged into your Google Plus account and your Gmail, your Google, not your Gmail, separate, your Google Plus app. And if you don't have that, you need to get it. And then log into that with your Google account, with your Gmail account, and then open up the Hangouts app. And that's how you can get on a Hangout on your phone.
Okay. All right, I just sent him a message because he said he would absolutely love to come out, and I'm like, well, are you listening to what Chris is saying right now? He's telling you what to do. He's writing me back. So hopefully he heard that. Yeah, so Kevin, if you heard that, listen, basically, if you can hear me right now, Chris just said it, but you need to get the Google Hangout app, the Google Plus app, and the Google Hangout app. Log into Google Plus and then go to your Hangout app, and we'll send you a link. Just tell us when you're ready. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on here, so it would have to be kind of soon. And if you can't make it on, I can kind of paraphrase your story. I'd rather hear it from you. I mean, I haven't even heard it from the whole thing out of, in a conversation. We chatted on Facebook the other day. I haven't even heard him actually tell the story, but it's powerful. And I think it will help a lot of you, whether you're making excuses for why you can't be at the event, making excuses for why you're not all in, whatever. What he just shared with me the other day was amazing. So I'd love to have him share it. In the meantime, while he figures that all out, he's writing me back now again. See what he says. Oh, you're here, meaning I can send you a link and you can get on. I'll send you the link. Let's see if you get on. Okay, I sent you the link. So click the link, and hopefully we'll see you in a second. That would be awesome.
Scott, how you doing, man? Come on out for a sec.
Wow, Chris. Wow, it's hard to, I guess, top that or even jump into something, but that was awesome. That's awesome, and that's what I feel our team is all about. Is right there. I feel your pain. I've been there. Situation now that I'm in. I got to realize, okay, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to go down this road, this path? And actually, since you were talking, man, I went ahead and I bought my ticket. I'll be there because I've gone to different events, and I've slept in vans. I've slept in the car, and and I just remember what you were saying, Amy, about being on the stage and the company I was in before. I remember sitting there and saying, man, I want to be on the stage. And then when I actually was able to be on the stage, it was crazy. So from what both of you guys just said, I don't care. I'm going to Vegas. I will be there. And like I've been telling you, Amy, I plan to do whatever I have to do to help this team grow, help everybody on this team grow. And Chris, that was awesome, because that is exactly what happens at these events. You get an aha moment. And for all you people, I'm new to Empower Network, okay, so I don't have anything to really go by here. From what I know from my previous experiences in success, he hit it on the money. You have, when you're sitting there and you're seeing these people talk, it's just, it just, I don't know what it is. It's just something about the events. Just something clicks in your head and you see it. You realize that the air smells fresher, and all your struggles and all the thing that you're going through, it just doesn't matter because you're just focused. You're focused. And so that's why when you're sitting here saying that, I'm like, I went right on my phone and I got my ticket because, that's just powerful. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, I applaud you. Scott. Thank you. Yeah. Look forward to seeing you. And
Right on.
I just, I'm not here to push people and, promote to try to get you there. I just simply was like, look, if you're meant to be there, you know it and you'll do it, And so that's what this is about. So I already sensed that you were meant to be there, Scott. I was looking forward to it. I already just kind of felt and knew that you'd be there, so I just let that all happen in its own time, and patience is a virtue. So, but funny enough, when you ask for what you want in the universe, it doesn't take long. So
I can't stop crying, Scott. I'm so happy.
You know what it is, Chris? Real quick here before the other fellow jumps on.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, what you mentioned, the law of attraction, the secret. Back when I was a landscape contractor, I was miserable in my life and just absolutely miserable, and everything was going wrong around me. And the one day, one of my employees just saw me struggling. I mean, my business was going all right. It was just kind of, I don't know, I was just seemed like everything I touched was just turning to crap instead of gold at that time. And he gave me the law of attraction, the secret, the video. And I remember the one day going, how is this video going to help me? I mean, how is this going to change my life? And he's like, just watch it. And you know what? I watched it, and it changed my life. I try to use it every single day. When I go to Walmart, this is what I do. Front row spot, front row spot, front row spot, and boom, front row spot. So I agree, 100%. Law of attraction.
Energy goes where attention flows. Energy flows where attention goes, and it's important. And so that comes back around to focused intent. You see, I did those things for like 90 days, not really seeing much result. Not much result. And then in 90 days, all of a sudden in January, 16,000 plus in income, in commissions.
Yeah,
and I didn't do anything differently that month than I did the following 3. But there's this thing that the universe and God or whoever, I mean, I'm not here to put any type of religious beliefs on anybody. I am not going to pretend like I know what's going on. All I know is it's like God tests you, and he says, are you sure? Sure you really want that? Are you willing to push past the place where most people quit? Do you want it that bad? And God, he, she, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, creator, whatever, will reward that. But your heart's got to be true. And so that's what happens. So remember, that's that patience and the focused intent every day. It wasn't, the story's amazing, but it's what that story did that caused me to take action consistently for 90 days. And I didn't stop there, but it took 90 days to see the fruits of it. So keep that in mind as some of you write 3 blog posts and go, nothing's going on here. I think I'm going to quit. Give yourself a real chance. So with that, Kevin, come on out, bud.
You're muted, hon.
You are muted. You're going to press a little button on your phone, and there's going to be a little menu that slides in, and you're going to press that little microphone button, and you should be good. We hear you. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm good. I just got my rear end kicked at the gym with a personal trainer. I'm doing an 8-week program, so.
Right on, man.
Yeah, I'm doing really good.
Good for you.
So Kevin, I wanted to bring you out. You remember the conversation we had on Facebook the other day about when you said if anybody ever sells you, they have an excuse about not being able to come up with the money. Remember that conversation?
Absolutely.
What just happened with you? Are you comfortable sharing that story?
Well, sure. That's one thing you'll have to do is when you're talking to me is just I won't take it personally. Just tell me when to stop because I'm used to speaking and I'll speak and I just love to talk. So just say, okay, Kev, we got it, okay? Because I can talk. All right.
No, you can't.
Well, just tell the story that you told me in a couple paragraphs on Facebook the other day about what happened, how you had to get the money. Just
Well, here's what happened, and during this time, like Chris said, God, the universe, I'm going to say God has shown me so many things in this message, but Normally, about this time at night, I'm leaving for work, and I get into my, I drive a semi-truck for a company, and I have to drive about an hour and a half to go pick up my trailer. And I've been driving for about 15, 16 years now, and I always go across this road, and all the truck drivers use it, and I've been going across the same road for 14 years. And I drive, and Chris knows what I'm talking about, I drive a 53-foot trailer. And I usually listen to our hangouts when I'm going down this road. And all of a sudden I saw the lights and I got pulled over. And I thought, okay. And the officer said, now, do you know why I'm pulling you over? And I said, no, sir, I don't. And he said, well, because you're over length. But I don't drive a condo, the kind of thing that guys sleep in overnight. I drive a day cab. And so he said, yeah, you're over length. He goes, can I see your license? And I said, sure, And while he went to the car, he came back, and they were showing in the system that my driver's license was suspended. And I said, but I've got my medical card, I've had my physical, I've never had any accidents, my license is current. He says, you'll have to take that up with the state. And the next thing you know, I'm not embarrassed to say this, I've never had this happen before in my life, I was arrested, and I was brought to jail. I'm like, what? I tried to plead for forgiveness and ask, can I get off the hook? Is there anything I can do? I don't get it, because there's other 53-foot trailers that go up and down the road all the time. I've never been pulled over in 14 years. And he said the reason that those guys get to go down that road is because they pay the permit, and my company doesn't. And I didn't know that. But long story short, while I was in that cell, I had a lot of time to think. And I came out and I found out that I had to come up with $2,600. Okay? And that was not something that I was wanting to go home and tell my wife, listen, you know what, honey, we got to come up with $2,600 within 10 days. If not, they put a warrant out for my arrest again, and I go to jail because of everything. And so I'm going to court during the time of the event. And my lawyer had said that as long as I prove with my documentation that there's a good chance that they might drop that and I might get some of that money back. Bottom line is that we didn't know how in the round world we were going to come up with the money, but we did. And my message to anybody that's listening to this right now is if you so desperately have to have money and you have to have it, you'll find avenues, you'll find ways. You'll find ways to come up with that money you never even dreamed of, because who in the round world wants to go to jail, right? And if you were to make the comparison and say, well, yeah, going to an event or going all in is not the same as getting myself out of jail. Yes, it is. Because I had a lot of time to sit there and think, because the jail cell that you're in is you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. You've went as far as you can go in your current job and your situation, and we're here for a reason. We're not just doing this to spend money. We're in this because, we've went as far as we can go. And I'm just going to say this, is to put all your cards on the table, do anything that you can do to get yourself out of jail. Get yourself out of the trouble and the mess that you're in. You can come up with money that you never thought you had if you want it bad enough. I wish I was going to this event, guys, and I'm going to do everything I can to go to the next one. But, yeah, it's heartbreaking. That's my story.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing that. When he first told me that, I asked him if he would feel comfortable, because I know it's it's very personal what he just shared, and he said absolutely if it'll make a difference for somebody.
Well, I was pulled over for assault and battery or carrying drugs or anything. I went down the wrong road that I've been going on forever. So I'm not feeling bad about that. I got caught, faced the music, and who much is given, much is required, and these are big boy fines in these big trucks. And I got a goal. I set an intention, and I'm going to get out of that truck, and I'm not going to look back. The thrill is gone. I went about as far as I know how to go with being a truck driver, and I'm just wanting to, like you said, I just want to drink coffee and blog. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank Thank you so much for making it happen. With zero notice in your car, on your phone.
So no excuses, guys. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
It's true. I mean, we've seen some really creative ways that people have come up with the funds. David Wood was talking on last night's Hangout, the part of it that I saw this morning, too, about, like, he was talking about getting to the event, and he was saying, like the cost of a ticket is not very much, but the cost of not going there, like, what if Tracy Walker didn't show up in Atlanta? It would have cost her $1 million. You know, if Lawrence Tam didn't show up in Costa Rica at Dave's house for that first deal that turned out to be the Costa Rica Mastermind Intensive, that would have cost him $1 million. You know, he paid whatever, $5,000 to get there, but it would have cost him $1 million if he hadn't gone. And that, you know, so the cost of getting all in so that you can actually, you know, it's the getting all in piece. There's so many pieces of that. There's the financial piece, which allows you to make way more money. I mean, Scott and I talked about this. It's like, okay, you have a goal to make $10,000 a month. If you're all in, that's like 3 sales. If you're not all in, it's like, I don't know, do the math. 25 times what is $10,000 a month? A lot, right? And so there's that piece. But the other piece of it is, like Chris, that quote Chris shared in the beginning of the Hangout, when you commit, providence moves to, whatever, that quote, like, the universe will rise to meet you when you're committed to something. And if you're in at the $25 level and you're saying that you're committed to this, it doesn't equate. So there's that piece. There's also an emotional part of it that happens when you, like Kevin said, put all your cards on the table. You know, just, you know, you commit. Your heart gets into it, and everything changes from that point forward. So, you know, and you've got some skin in the game. So, anyway, Chris, do you want to say anything about Kevin's?
It's just inspiring, you know. Like, it's crazy how, you know, I think, Kevin, you can have some perspective now looking back at a lot of this, that it's funny how we can be grateful for the weird tragedies and crises that happened that were the catalyst to bring us to another space. And we look back and we have perspective to understand, well, that's why that happened, because it helped me make a decision or cause a shift that otherwise probably wouldn't have happened. And Kevin, I applaud you, because what that means is that if you went down that path and you had something like this happen when you were simply just doing the thing you were doing every day, and it caused some freak crisis to happen, then that means that on one level or another your prayers were answered, you set your intention, and God said, okay, if you're serious, here you go. It may not be pretty, but it's the only thing I can get you to sit up, take notice, humble yourself, and start thinking a little differently, because as we all know, our thoughts are going to create everything. And so I know that, you know, if you haven't already gotten to that space where you're thankful for all of this to happen, knowing what's coming, then when you get to that, you know, when you really, really get there, let us know. Let's celebrate it together, because it's cool to see, and sometimes it's tough to watch. Sometimes it's tough to see someone go through that, but, you know, it's worth it. You know, I was sitting at Rob Forrest's house this last spring, about 8 months ago, when I was driving back down from Alaska to Colorado, and, you know, I'd never told him the role he played in my story until I was sitting at his house, sitting around his kitchen table, and I told him the story, and Rob broke into tears uncontrollably and was just like, I had no idea. You know, he's like, I saw you suffering and I felt so sorry for you and I wanted to help. I never knew that I did, you know? And he says, but now I see that, you know, the role I played, it was tough to watch and it was tough to tell you what I did, but I knew on some level I felt that it was necessary, and it's like I was being told to tell you. You know, I don't know why I said it. Even after I said the "you're playing small, it makes me sick to my stomach" part, you know, I don't know why I said it, You know, I still was kind of like, gosh, that was kind of harsh. But now I see the results of it, you know. And he says, and I'm thankful that I listened to, and he said God. He's very, very Christian man too. And he was like, and I'm pretty sure God just told me, you know, and so I followed it. And so, you know, it's tough to watch sometimes, and it's funny how some of my friends who go through tough times like this, and people that, you know, I watch come up through the industry, and they have stuff like this happen, and it's like, wow, you know, my heart goes out, and this is tough, and I'm sorry, and I'm praying for you. But funny enough, when we get further away from it, we look back in that perspective and realize you wouldn't have had it any other way. Weirdly and odd enough as it sounds, because it changed things and it pushed you forward. So I'm happy for you. And although, you know, I send you my loving support, and you know that it's getting better, and it's only going to get better. I know that. I've seen enough of it to know. So I would bet my life on it. So I'm happy for you, bro, and glad to see this happening, that you're moving in that direction.
Oh, and another thought, I'd just like to tell you that, you know, while I was sitting there and I was contemplating everything that had happened, you know, I couldn't help but think when I saw all these trucks going by as I was in the back of the car, was why did those guys get to go on the road? Why did I get pulled over, but you're letting these guys go on the same road that you just pulled me over? Well, he explained to me that their company pays the permit, and if I could turn that into, you know, why do these guys get to go to this, and why do people in our business get farther ahead than others, and how come they know more than other people know? It's because, you know what, they paid the permit. They really did. They bought the products. Now they get to travel on the road that takes them and gets them there quicker.
They bought the products and they put in the work. You know, it's funny, when opportunity knocks, most people don't realize that what answers is work, you know, and are you willing to do it? But it's a perfect metaphor. I love that, Kevin.
Well, thank you. And you know what? There's plenty of events coming up, and I hope I can be on the live stream if they have a live stream. And I look forward to going to. I got a dream of going to Colorado. I always have, so I'm going to make it there, and to be free. And so it's coming soon to a theater near you.
We'll be having another event here soon for. You guys will learn more about that soon. But.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit of a teaser right now. Make sure that you're here tomorrow. Amy and I are going to have a hangout. We're going to teach you something, and we're also going to give you guys an opportunity to be with us in a couple months in Colorado. I'll leave it at that. And we're going to make it worth it for you and affordable for you. Unbelievably affordable. Oh. So you'll love that. So make sure you're on.
Rocky Mountain.
Yep. So yeah, make sure you're here tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a special
You know what time, Chris?
You know, what probably works best? We might as well figure that out, huh? Because we were like, let's do it tomorrow, but then we didn't even have a time. I'm 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Let's do it then. And
okay, that's going to be, just so you know, that's going to be the same time as the Empower Hangout.
There is one tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do it after then. Let's do that. Let's do it at 11 Eastern, 9 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Pacific. I know for you all on the East Coast, I know that's rough, and I promise you it's not going to be a crazy 3-hour marathon like we used to do in our hangouts, starting at 11 o'clock Eastern, so you won't be up all night. Give us an hour.
Or do you want to do it before, Chris? No?
When everyone's going to be able to make it.
Okay.
Pretty early. Actually, well, would that be better?
Guys, vote in the comments. Would you rather have it at, what would it be, Chris, at 6 Mountain?
Yeah, it'd be 6 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Pacific, or 8 o'clock Eastern, which is for the early time, which would give us an hour, and then it'd go into the Power Hangout. Or do it afterwards, because I know the Empower deal is going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we would do that at 9 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. So obviously there's like a 15 to 20-second delay or 30-second delay, so it'll be a minute before we see people putting in their votes.
Meantime, Kevin and Scott can vote right here.
You know, this is one of the reasons why we were, you know, we haven't been doing a lot of stuff, is because Empower has been doing it. You know, I don't want you guys to think that we were just forgetting about you guys. We set up this nice site with cool training and then left you out to dry. That was never the intention. It's just that, as you can see, Empower is doing a lot, and we need to be aligned with them. So trying to do stuff around it is the challenge, which is why we're doing this on a Wednesday when they don't do anything.
Dave Wood, as you said that, I just got an email from Dave Wood. I'm on live now. Click here. He's on.
Yeah, and see, Dave is just, he'll do it.
Hang out with Tracy Walker right now.
Yeah, that's Tracy's personal team, though, but they're making it live. So, I mean, but Dave will do anything on a whim, so it's the way he is. We call it Wood time, you know. And what happened, and it's very common inside the company, you know, they're like, what happened? Oh, Dave happened. Dave happened. How come we're behind? Dave happened. You know.
Well, we've gotten 2 votes for 8 p.m. Eastern so far.
Okay.
What's your vote, Kevin?
Oh, anytime's good.
Okay. And Scott?
You know what? It doesn't matter to me. We can do it before or after. I'll just be blogging and working Empower Networks.
Coffee and blogging, living the life.
Well, it's looking like 8 p.m. Eastern. We got 4 of them on here.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
4 for that. You know, 5. Kevin's good. Scott, you're good. Okay.
Yep.
6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will send out an email. We'll post it in the Facebook group. We've got some cool stuff tomorrow. Guys, let me give you a quick thing about tomorrow. You're going to hear a little bit tomorrow about something that, unless you were at my Next Level Mastermind Intensive, at me and Amy's Next Level Mastermind Intensive, where I taught these certain things, and people paid $3,000 for this. And Theo was there, and Jose and Normalisa were there.
Pete.
And Keith, right? Or Pete, sorry, Pete. Yeah, Pete Pritchard was there.
Michael.
And here's the good news. That, yeah, Michael Leaf was there too. And the good news is that stuff I taught was like me going like, here guys, here's what it all is. And what I have for you tomorrow is here's all this is, and here how this applies, and it's going to open your eyes to a whole other world. I've been working personally with a few people that I've taught this to. You guys can ask Matt Dillingham a little bit about some of this. A lot of it I haven't even taught him yet, but he's been blown away on a normal, regular basis after I've been showing him certain things. But tomorrow you're going to hear a little bit about how all of this applies, and a whole other world is going to open up. And the other thing about this is, you know, we really wanted to wait to do this, but just due to the way things are falling together, we have to do this. Time is of the essence, and you need to be there live. Okay? So, let's make it. You guys voted, and you spoke. 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Be there. Give me an hour, and I promise you, you've never seen this stuff before, and what it will probably do is what I'm hearing from everybody so far on the feedback. This is going to change the entire industry.
Yes.
So we'll see you there. And on that note, take them home, Amy.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I hope this has been helpful. We love you, and you know, just take it all to heart. You have everything that you need right now to do whatever you want with your life and to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. To let go of playing small, let go of the past, let go of all the beliefs that don't serve you, that have you thinking that the way that it has been is the way that it's going to be, because you can shift that in an instant. And be here tomorrow, because it's going to be, there's some real exciting stuff being shared tomorrow. And you know, I can't wait to hang out with you guys in person. I'm gonna start crying again, thinking about giving Scott his first hug. And oh, it's always so good when we all get together. So anyway, thank you for being here. I know this has been a little bit of a marathon of a hangout, but I know a lot of you have been here the whole time. So thanks for hanging in there with us. And we will see you tomorrow right here. Same place. Same place, right, Chris? Yep. Same place tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Actually, Amy, because this is special to the team, we're going to need to create a page they have to log into.
Yeah, we'll do a private. We'll send. You'll be notified where to go tomorrow. It'll be a private page. It won't be a public page like this.
And you'll have to be a member of the Next Level Mastermind.
Yeah, because this is exclusive. So, with that being said, we will see you tomorrow. And Chris, do you want to say anything else?
Be the change you want to see in the world.
All right. Amen.
Love you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.